The nature versus nurture debate involves whether human behavior is determined by the environment, either prenatal or during a person's life, or by the person's genes. Has this person developed his or her behavior based on the nurture aspect of the parents or the nature aspect of the world around them? This debate has caught a lot of true crime individuals to sheer confusion when it comes to the backgrounds of certain convicted murderers. This video, we will dive into those nature versus nurture debates as we shed some light onto this case. On an early Tuesday morning, August 18, 2015, the Bellefontaine Police Department responded to an unresponsive infant at 868 East Sandusky Avenue in Bellefontaine, Ohio. There, police found the 911 caller, 23-year-old Brittany Pilkington, and 3-month-old Noah Pilkington on the floor. Officers started CPR on Noah until paramedics arrived. EMS transported Noah to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Local officials, along with the Bureau of Criminal Investigation and BCI Crimes Against Children's Unit, assisted in the investigation. Strangely enough, this was the third child that had died in Brittany's care. On April 6, 2015, the father, 43-year-old Joseph Pilkington, came home from work to find his 4-year-old Gavin Pilkington unresponsive in his bed. Mr. Pilkington said Gavin was lying on his stomach with his head turned in an unusual way that looked uncomfortable. He said his son's body was cold and limp. On July 22, 2014, Mr. and Mrs. Pilkington lost a 3-month-old son, Niall. The cause of death was undetermined based on testing and lack of evidence at the scene.
On Tuesday morning, August the 18th, 2015, at 3:04 a.m., officers of the Bellefontaine Police Department were dispatched to 868 East Sandusky Avenue, apartment 215, after we received a 911 call from Brittany Pilkington of that address stating that her son was not breathing. Upon officers' arrival, which was just ahead of the fire department paramedics, the child, 3-month-old Noah Pilkington, was still unresponsive. Officers attempted CPR until medics arrived. The child was then transported to Marytown Hospital, where he was later declared deceased by Logan County Coroner Dr. Michael Fahler. Due to this being the third such incident at this same address involving similar circumstances, officers began a tedious investigation into Noah's death. Both the mother, Brittany, and the father, Joseph Pilkington, were cooperative in today's investigation. We requested Ohio BCI and I to assist both at the scene and in our interviews. The Logan County Coroner's Office and our agency still had an open investigation into Gavin's death as of today. Then, this morning, as we received word of yet another son's death, we began interviewing Brittany, since she was the common factor in all 3 deaths.
On the same day, Brittany Pilkington, during an interview with police, confessed to intentionally killing all 3 children.
Now, based on evidence collected throughout the day and Brittany's confession that she intentionally killed all 3 of her sons, she has been charged with 3 counts of murder and is being lodged in the Logan County Jail as we speak.
After the confession, Brittany Pilkington was lodged in the Logan County Jail and was set at a $1 million bond. After the arrest, the case went a little cold until more people found out what was happening in the background of the home in Bellefontaine.
While a Bellefontaine mother awaits trial, accused of murdering her 3 little boys, tonight their father is now under arrest. Not for the murders, for seducing the mother when she was just a teen.
On September 10, 2015, approximately 1 month after her arrest, the Logan County Grand Jury indicted Brittany's husband, Joseph Pilkington, on 1 count of sexual battery, and police arrested him soon after. The indictment stems from Pilkington impregnating Brittany when she was only 17 years old. The legal age of consent in Ohio is 16 years. However, the statute of limitations on sexual battery applies to anyone in a parental role. In the year 2000, Joseph Pilkington began dating Brittany's mother, Lori Cummings. Brittany became pregnant in 2009, and Logan County Children's Services and the Logan County Prosecutor's Office launched an investigation. However, the investigation was dropped in 2010 when both Joseph and Brittany got married. Logan County prosecutors claimed that Brittany killed her sons because she was jealous of her husband paying more attention to the boys in the family than herself and their daughter. Court Gatterdame, one of the defense attorneys on this case, stated that Brittany had suffered lead poisoning as a child, followed by her years of physical and sexual abuse without the intervention by authorities. Pilkington initially pleaded not guilty to the aggravated murder charges. Prosecutors had sought genetic testing for Pilkington to rule out genetic disorders as a cause of death for the three boys. Judge Mark Connor ordered that Pilkington's sentence run back-to-back because of the seriousness of the crimes, a move advocated by prosecutors. Logan County Prosecutor Eric Stewart said the sentence would bring justice and closure to this tragic case and protect the community from the defendant. Initially, the indictment in this case included specifications for the death penalty. However, one of the state's own experts advised that the death penalty was not appropriate in this case due to the mental defects of the defendant. Noah died less than a week after he was returned from protective custody on a judge order in connection to Gavin's death. A prosecutor said authorities didn't have any evidence of a crime in the earlier deaths, and no one could have predicted the remaining son would die. During the investigations, questions started pointing towards the Bellefontaine Police Department and how they did not pick up on a pattern after the second son had been found unresponsive.
Disappointed, we're frustrated, we're angry. We're angry that the facts presented themselves in the way they did in Gavin's death and in Niall's death. We're angry that a third child died. But understand, the only person that's responsible here is Brittany Pilkington, not the Bellefontaine Police Department, not the county coroner, not the judge, not the prosecutor. There's one person that's going to be responsible for all of this. She knew what happened after child number 1 and didn't come forward. She knew what happened after child number 2 and didn't come forward. And she certainly knew what happened after child number 3 and still failed to come forward until more and more evidence was brought forth against her yesterday. A medical examiner has examined all 3 of these children. Right. The first child was found to be an undetermined cause of death. Right. That is a huge piece of evidence for us. When a medical examiner is examining a 3-month-old and can't describe to us how the child died, that's a problem. If it was clearly a suffocation and there was obvious signs of trauma or something in the brain that would tell us that exactly when the suffocation occurred or what have you, we would have been all over that, of course. Those are obvious things that we're waiting on. That's why we take our time to an autopsy. Gavin, same thing. And so to have a autopsy come back with unclear results, and the fact now that the county coroner says, wait a minute, I'm not satisfied with that. We're going to go with our gut feeling that there is a problem either caused environmentally or a problem caused by an adult in that home or some other reason of why Gavin passed. We're going to do whatever we can to assist law enforcement in determining cause of death.
And excluding the husband, because some have said or suggested that how could he not know? He lives with her, he's been married to her, he knows her better than anybody. Could he possibly be complicit? Have you ruled that out completely?
Based on our interviews with Joseph and based on conversations with the prosecutor's office, at this time I don't anticipate Joseph being charged. That could very well change, but at this point in time I am unaware of anything that links Joseph other than the relationship in the family.
Nature versus nurture is in full effect in this case. Brittany had been subject to physical and sexual abuse as a young child. You could also say that there was years of mental abuse and grooming when it comes to the subject's husband, Joe. Joe had been a father figure in Brittany's life for over 10 years at this point, where we could say intense grooming and manipulation took place. Joe Pilkington groomed and manipulated Brittany and was either brainwashed into believing she loved him or kept silent to protect her family life from being more broken than it already was. Joe Pilkington's only arrest and charge came from the sexual battery, when in reality he should have been also charged in the connection to the deaths of his 3 children as well. On November 19, 2019, Brittany Pilkington agreed to a deal in which she would plead guilty to 1 count of manslaughter in the case of Niall and 2 counts of murder in the case of both Gavin and Noah, and she was sentenced to 37 years to life.